Hey y'all, and welcome back to day 40 of my 100-day challenge. I am almost halfway there, and it has been so awesome to be able to make these videos on a daily basis for you all and be able to give value. So, a little bit about me, real quick. I help six-figure female founders to build scalable companies through building high-performing teams as well as automating their systems and processes. So, let's go ahead and get into it. For today, I'm going to be talking about the impact of being an effective communicator as a leader. So when I say being an effective communicator, that doesn't mean that you have to be a public speaker. That just means you are very personable in whoever it is that you're talking to. And you're good at building trust. You're good at reducing confusion and misalignment. You're good at increasing the accountability of the team through your words and through your mannerisms. So let's talk first about building trust. So when you're an effective communicator, this ordinarily will build trust with the team because you are giving them clear and consistent communication, which creates that psychological safety that people don't know that they need, but that they actually need to be able to feel safe. And so I believe it's like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Safety is at the very, very bottom. That's the base, because if you are not safe, then none of your other needs or you're not going to get to the highest point in the hierarchy. And so your team will know what to expect and where they stand with you if you can build that trust. And part of being an effective communicator will help to reduce confusion. So I've been in instances where we were told we were going to do one thing and then we did another thing with like a project, and it was very confusing. And I felt like I was misled slightly because I was just like, what are we actually doing? And so the entire team was confused. Our department was confused. The company ended up being confused. So all different departments were going in different directions, and that's not efficient or effective for time management. So the miscommunication, it ended up costing the company time, money, and even morale. It took us a while to be able to get the morale back up because it's almost like trust. You can break trust instantly, but it takes years to build. And just like with morale, you can build morale and it takes time to build it, but you can also lose it in just a second just because someone does not trust anything anymore. And that is kind of what happened within the company. And it took us years to build the morale, and then it was torn down within like the course of an event. And so that's one of the things that I want you all to learn from my mistakes, the companies that I worked for, their mistakes. And let's make sure that we're doing what we can to protect our time, our money, and the morale of our company. Because I guarantee you, resources, especially as an entrepreneur, can be very, very sparse. So we want to use them effectively and efficiently. Great leaders will clarify the vision, the roles, and the goals. I love this line because you can have managers, but managers are not the same as leaders. Managers are task oriented, which I did a whole other video on that. But managers are task oriented versus leaders actually care about the people. They are people first versus managers are tasks first or projects first. So great leaders will make sure that you understand the vision, you understand the role that you play within the vision, and then you understand that role and what the overall objective is and how we're going to get to that objective. So you want to make sure that you are effectively communicating as much as possible so that everyone knows where we go from point A to get to point B and what we're going to do in between as a company to get there and exactly their role that they play. Quick story, I worked for a company and people did not understand the role that they played. They knew they were in customer service, but they didn't understand what that role played. They just felt like, oh, I'm just answering emails all day, or, oh, I'm just calling people all day. No, if you sit back and you think about it, you realize that customer service is really the backbone, because that is the way to increase the lifetime value of your customer, is if you have great customer support. And so we had to kind of dial things back and stop and say, hey, this is how you fit into the bigger piece. Because you do this, this increases the lifetime value, which increases our bottom line, which helps us to still be able to have a thriving company for everyone to come to work to. So sometimes you have to break it down like that because it's not always as apparent to some of the support roles within the company, how they play a part in the overall objective of the overall organization. So also, when you are being an effective communicator, you are also increasing the accountability of your team. So when expectations are clearly communicated, people are more likely to follow through and own their results because they know it's expected of them. So if they know it's expected and then they fall short, they're going to automatically be like, okay, well, that was on me. And you want people like that. You want to increase the accountability so that way people are not having to micromanage. The last thing you want to have to do as a leader is micromanage. I will say, if I ever have to micromanage someone, they're probably not going to be with the company for very long because I want everyone to be accountable for their work and I hold everyone to an extremely high expectation. And so I make it very, very clear what's expected of them, how they can get there, if there's areas of improvement that are needed, and 9 times out of 10, they will follow through because I've told them what I'm wanting and what I'm needing from them and how they fit into the overall big picture. Another thing is boosting team morale and engagement. So teams who feel seen, heard, and understood are more motivated, loyal, and collaborative than those that do not feel seen or heard or understood. And that just goes to show that people want to just know that their contributions are going towards something meaningful. They want to know that they're not just a number. They're not just someone that's behind the computer. No, they are a person. They have a life. They have a family who cares about them. They have friends who care about them. They have awesome talents and hobbies that we probably don't even know that they have. So people want to know that they are valued and are more than just a number. And that's the best way to be able to build your team morale is going by as a leader. One of the things I would do is I would go by everyone's desks, and I wouldn't do it every single day, but I would do it maybe once or twice a week. And I'd just be like, hey, how are y'all doing? Like, and I would go to each individual person. They might be in the same area, but I might just kind of sit on the edge of the desk and be like, what's going on? Like, how's the family doing? Oh, I know the kids were starting soccer. How'd that go? Like, just something like that to show them that you actually remember. People don't realize how impactful it is to know that as a support role in an organization that you are remembered by one of the leaders. And sometimes people feel like, especially in support roles, that it's intimidating to talk to one of the leaders. Don't be that leader that anyone's intimidated to talk to. Be the one that's approachable. Be the one that does not mind going out of their way and talking to other people, because ultimately when you do that, you are going to build a team that is going to be motivated to want to show up every single day and show out every single day. They're going to be loyal. And so anything that is happening within the organization, they will stand up for the department. They'll also be collaborative because they'll want to be more hands-on. They'll want to talk to you. They'll want to talk to their teammates because they know that they're genuinely cared about. And so just making sure that you are boosting your team morale and engagement throughout this process will help you naturally become an effective leader. And if you are that, it works hand in hand. So they literally equal each other. Boosting team morale and engagement equals effective communication, and effective communication also boosts team morale and engagement. So we're just going to leave that at that. It also helps you to navigate conflict gracefully. So conflict is sometimes something that is difficult for people to communicate about, or they don't like confrontation, but having strong communicators address issues directly but respectfully turns friction into forward motion. So we want things to continuously be moving forward within the organization. We don't want things to be at a standstill. We don't want people to be building up animosity or resentment towards people, because that is not going to help the company to grow. So make sure that any communicators that you have, and you as the leader, make sure you are strong in this aspect and do not mind confrontation. There's going to be conversations that you're not going to want to have, that are not going to be fun, but that's just a part of being a leader. That's a part of having a company. And you want to continue to be professional and teach your leaders within the organization how to be professional and go about this as well. So ultimately, we want these things as an effective communicator to drive execution and results. Clarity fuels momentum, and a well-communicated vision keeps the team focused and moving in the same direction. So we never want people moving in two different directions, because that's just going to get completely confusing. We want everyone to be moving in the same direction, understand what the objective is, understand what the goals are of the overall organization, how they fit into that. And all of that is through you being an effective communicator and letting them know where they fit in, being transparent, having an open door policy. So if people have questions or concerns, they can come to you, they can talk to you, and you're approachable. There's nothing worse than having a leader in the organization that you just cannot approach. Like you just feel intimidated by, you don't want to talk to them because you know they won't see it the same way, or they might, it just wouldn't be helpful. So don't be that person in the organization that no one wants to talk to you, because that is never fun. And I guarantee you, if they're not talking to you, they're probably talking about you in the best way possible. I mean, but I'm just being honest and truthful. Like they probably, if they're not talking to you, they probably are talking about you, because there's some sort of disconnect right there. So I hope this was helpful in helping you all to be able to continue to build up as leaders and be effective communicators for your organizations. If you felt like this was helpful, please feel free to like this video, subscribe to my channel, because I'll be continuing this for another 60 days for my 100-day challenge. So thank y'all for joining, and I'll see y'all tomorrow.